Welcome to the Wargaming.net League of North America World of Tanks. My name is Dan Frodancho, and tonight is a round of 16 for our second qualifier to find out which teams will get one step closer to get one of those last 4 coveted spots for WGLNA, which begins July 11th. Now, a lot of people may be wondering, what is WGL? And WGL is a competition worldwide for World of Tanks, spanning across 4 regions. We have Europe, Russia, Asia, and finally North America here, which is the Premier League. To my right, I am joined by Andre Gritorp Heng Chua, our in-house statistician, analyst, and former pro gamer. Andre, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing wonderful. Glad to be here as always. Dan, how are you?
I'm doing great, man.
Not
a lot of people ask me how I'm doing. I'm always trying to make sure everyone else is okay. It's really nice to be validated. Thank you, Andre.
I'm glad you're doing well.
To my slightly further right, we have Randall Ruko Hokum, extraordinaire dancer, as well as our telestrator. Randall, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I've been practicing my dancing all day.
And you're practicing your game for sure, absolutely. And to my left, we are joined by Joshua Clutch Gray. Last night he was a telestrator, but tonight he is going to be our social media giveaway as well as our dedicated observer superstar. Clutch, thank you for joining us.
That's right, Dan. It's great to be here tonight. First off, to celebrate this first matchup, which is going to be Purpl Reign versus Simplistic, I want you all to tweet at WGLNA your best references when it comes to the artist now known as Prince, because he had one of the greatest albums and longest music videos, aka films, Purpl Reign. Make sure to tune in throughout the entire night. We're going to be giving away a lot of gold, and this is 2,000 gold plus 7 days of premium accounts. This is huge.
I love that movie, by the way.
It's a great movie.
Oprah was wonderful in it.
Well, Clutch did answer one of the reasons why you guys should be watching, because we'll be giving gold and premium throughout the night. And it's not going to be just once or twice. You're going to get opportunities to win all throughout the broadcast, so make sure you stay active on Twitter as well as Facebook. But also, we want to even explain to some people who might be watching for the very first time, why should we even watch it? And Randall, what is World of Tanks, and why should people even care about it?
You know, World of Tanks is a really cool game because it is so amazing because armor and realism. You have these tanks, and they go boom. You shoot guns, and you can bounce your shells, and I've always loved being able to do that with my tanks. Yeah, I haven't gotten that in any other game. You know, you play those realism war games, and you shoot tanks, you shoot your guns, but sometimes, and you pen every time. You just hit or you pen, and in World of Tanks, you can bounce, and that always was a cool mechanic that really caught me. You know, did any of you guys
Yeah,
really
it's the idea that no matter how many hit points you have, you can be down to your last single shred of health, and yet you're still completely relevant all throughout the game. Randall was telling me that you can be a difference maker from start to finish until you die, and that's what makes World of Tanks really engaging. And that's why you should be watching our league, because all throughout the night you're going to be watching great positions to play, how to play certain tank compositions, as well as maybe even some of your favorite players to watch and follow them, because they stream, they're very active, and we're trying to get these stories out. Of course, we have a great list of matches tonight. Andre, who do we have playing?
Sure. For our 6 o'clock p.m. PST match, we got Simplistic versus Purpl Reign as our first match. The 7 o'clock match scheduled is going to be Forever Victory against Warriors of Honor. And, of course, to wrap things up, we have Ermagerd Curvern versus Bear Huggers. Let's go ahead and check out what the league looks like.
That's right. These guys will be playing for a spot in WGLNA. Let's go ahead and even look at what the tournament is. 8 teams have qualified through the open, or will be qualifying through the open bracket. 4 already did from the first qualifier a couple weeks ago. That includes the Cunninghams, the More Golds, as well as River of Blood. You can check out all the lists at WGLNA, as well as the 8 teams seeded: Fulcrum, Simp, Wreak Havoc, Mott 4, Simple Tankers, which we will be talking to Colby later tonight, as well as a huge list of superstars. And then that's going to culminate in 3 weeks of league matches, as well as our finals on August 17th and 18th in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm super excited, Andre. $100,000 to one of these teams, or not to one of the teams, but split across these teams. Lots of money for people to grab, not just gold.
A lot of money, and that's what's so exciting about it. You know, growing the esports scene, and especially the World of Tanks scene, is definitely something that Wargaming is trying to do, and man, oh man, are they doing it right. Not only can they win, but also the viewers can win a little bit of gold.
That's right. The viewers can win by a goal. Again, social media, twitter.com/WGLNA, facebook.com/WGLNA. If you can't get the theme, youtube.com/WGLNA. We're getting lots of gold. We also want to explain the World of Tanks format as well, because some people might be watching and say, why are they not playing 15 versus 15? And I was really hoping Randall would include this into his conversation about what is World of Tanks. So I'm going to have to give you a C for average grade, because I said, Randall, before the broadcast, you're going to be explaining World of Tanks. It's like, okay, I'm really nervous. How am I going to explain it? So, Randall, why don't you go ahead and now explain what 742 is?
Well, 742 is a format where you have 7 tanks per side, and you have 42 points to line up your team, and each tank is worth a certain amount of points. So you have a max tier point also of 8. So you only get tanks up to tier 8, 1 to 8. You don't get 9 or 10, and each match is a best of 5. So you play until one team has reached 3, and then it's over. You know, sometimes things can draw out and they can go a little while.
So how do draws actually work?
Yeah, so draws are interesting because time
Oh,
is
are
set
they?
to... Oh, very interesting. I think they're interesting.
What about 6 draws in a row? Is that still interesting?
That can be less interesting. You're right there. But sometimes it can be where both teams try their hardest. They try one strat or another, and then, you know, you don't have 10 minutes because guess what? You both pick strats that happen to really not mesh well enough or clash in such a way that you actually don't want to attack on either side, or you want to keep readjusting, and that takes all of 10 minutes. It can happen. And also, I've seen before where both teams have actually killed their last man simultaneously. They both shot, and they both killed each other. That was one side.
Really
that
cool.
happened
That
to...
sounds super epic.
It would.
Just
It was
tied, just projectiles midair.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't matter who hits who first, right? Both die within a lot of time frames of draw. I really hope something like that can happen, but that's kind of the nature of World Tanks. Anything can happen, and anything kind of has happened. Again, one of the teams that will be playing later tonight, Ermagerd Kernavern, they're one of the favorites from qualifier number 1. They got to the round of 8, but then they lost to a team called Cazadores, and now they're here back again, but they have to play against a great team, Bear Huggers, which is kind of like a brethren clan. They got members from Simp and Red Sky. We'll talk about more of that later tonight. Looks like our first match of the night, which is going to be Purpl Reign versus Simplistic, is already ready to go. In fact, the map is already loaded. We don't have even time to illustrate. So let's go ahead and get ready for our first match on Angst. In just a moment, you're watching WGLNA. Who is going to happen? What is going to happen? Who is going to win? We'll find out. In just a moment, you're watching the first match between these two teams, Simplistic versus Purpl Reign. All right, let's go ahead and pull up the mini-map and get ready for some of the early action on this map. And Ruka, walk us through the opening steps and open movement patterns.
Yes, many teams will choose to go either east or west. So, darn it, I can't get my illustration to work.
It's not drawing tonight. We're just using the mini-map.
Yeah, we'll just use the mini-map. So east or west, you'll see right down the 6th line that we have some train tracks. That is some really difficult ground for teams to cross. So generally what you'll see is you'll see a team pick one side or the other. They won't split their tanks across either side, and we see both teams are going to go east. So we can expect some kind of fighting to happen. If we see teams go west and east, one team going perhaps in the south to east, the other in the west, generally you're in for a long game, but they've both gone to the same side, so I'm expecting this to be resolved within a decent amount of time. We actually might see a scout go down in here in a moment, as I think attack 2 is going far too deep.
Well, thank you for your opening statements, Rue. Andre, what do you already see in opening matters on this side of the map? Normally we see Western block corner games. Instead, it's going to be a little bit more open field.
Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Both teams, unfortunately, the T50-2 is going to be taken out here, but both teams have chosen 2 arties. This is really unconventional on any map, but we've seen a little bit of this on Ensk. Still, it's unconventional. We don't see it nearly as much. It's normally just 5 straight tier 8 tanks and then 2 tier 1s.
Yeah, it is strange to see a GW Panther and a Bison. I would not have chosen that myself because I feel like you're spending a lot of points on a tier 6 tank that could have been put into something perhaps a little stronger. And with that T2 down, you're down 2 points and you're down your scout. There's no vision. So that is a serious problem.
And that's going to be a little bit tough to see what's going to happen. Again, we also didn't even introduce the team. Simplistic is the red team, as well as Purpl Reign is the blue team. Just trying to introduce those so that way you don't get too confused. Again, both teams still trying to feel it out. With the T2 light down, it's just going to restrict their vision a lot, although the T2 is surely just to fill out the tier points, considering that it's a little bit better than the T1 Cunningham. Instead, we see Purpl Reign shifting towards the western side of the map. They're abandoning the field here, Greetorp.
Yeah, there's really no potential for them to continue playing on that side. They're down a pretty big tank right off the get-go, and it's really unfortunate. So they're saying, okay, we're not going to try to go, punch for punch. Let's just retreat over, take a defensive posture. There's no real chance for them to cross the train tracks. So I have that side covered a little bit, and maybe I can get a positional advantage and get the HP hit.
What about the lumberyard?
back.
I see teams try to control that area, use the tracks to their advantage, and then try to posture themselves to be able to break the position. Is it just too hard considering that there's two already? What's going on there?
Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, they don't have a lot of super defensive capabilities. Don't get me wrong, they can still do that, Froden. You're absolutely right, and they can just haul down over there and be super, super safe. But I think they're just saying to themselves, well, that only gives us the defensive options. We don't have any aggressive options after that. So let's go into a route where we still can do something. We have a little bit of room to move, and at the same time, we are staying pretty defensive.
We see that Simplistic is moving down that lumberyard, just as we were mentioning that area as a point of normal contention. No tanks are spotted. Now again, Purpl Reign lost their primary scout. We're pulling up the mini-map and showing you how divided this map has become. Western blocks belong to Purpl Reign, East belongs to Simplistic, and it might set up a scenario where both teams are kind of out of position to defend if one team initiates a flag capture.
And I'm sorry, in the beginning I said a T50-2 was killed. No, that is T2 light instead. So
That's right, the tag 2 is on Simplistic.
Not nearly as dramatic as I was making it, but still, that one tank. It's not even the tier, it's the tank that's so important. Once you lose that, you lose a lot of momentum. That's a very important ward that you need to see where your opponents are so that your artillery can do something.
And now Simplistic has completely discovered that Purpl Reign has moved to the western side of the map. You can see the artillery rotating as well.
Yeah.
They're now over in the EF0 line, making sure that there can't be a sweep should they be unprepared for any kind of ambush.
I really like Purpl Reign's movement here. The artillery swinging all the way up. You can see how aggressive they're being. But at the same time, what's happening is because their opponents don't know where their artillery is, conventionally it's going to stick around in the J, K, 1, and 2 area. But because they're swinging up A, B, 1, and 2, they might have potential shots on their opponents in the event, of course, of something like a cap, or they're just not positioning right around buildings.
They're going to be caught in a very awkward spot. Purpl Reign can only shoot down the center line. Already, the initial cap has started, and only 20 seconds already left on the clock. Purpl Reign needs to respond here, Greetorp.
Yes, they do. There's going to probably be just waiting until they can light someone up, and then the artilleries are going to try to shell out some damage to reset that cap ASAP, but they only have 9 seconds. Can they do it, Frodan?
They need to get some kind of penetration. Mighty Pill is going to try to immediately try to screen and shut off I Love Haters. I Love Haters going for it. There's only 1 second on the clock. He does manage to get into the territory zone, though, and stall for it. All of a sudden, Simplistic getting surrounded from 3 different areas, but there are 5 members from Simplistic to hold off the push. Even if they manage to stall for time, there's only 1 person initiating cap on Simplistic's flag.
Yeah, beautifully, beautifully done. You can see all of the tanks on Simplistic's team are behind cover. Those artilleries can't really do a lot of damage to them.
Blue Blaze has been captured, and that is the first battle. Very well done there by Simplistic. Wow, absolutely riveting action considering that there was a lot of rotation, and even though they kind of met resistance over on the eastern side, I was really impressed by how Simplistic was able to handle the situation, granted of all the uncertainty what could happen.
Yeah, definitely a very bold move, but it paid off. Obviously, their spots were enough to tell them, okay, there's a large amount of tanks out of position. Let me go ahead and just cap it right now, because there's a lot of situations. Think, you're going to lose 2 situations where they're all cramped down in that bottom left corner, the JK10 area. If all those tanks by Purpl Reign are just there, ready to defend, your arties are in position, you're not going to have a great time. Those arties are going to be raining hell down on you, and basically the rest of the tanks can get good cover.
Yeah. Welcome back to WGLNA qualifier number 2, round of 16. We're currently in the middle of our series, Purpl Reign versus Simplistic. We're single elimination to find out who advances to tomorrow for the round of 8 opportunity to get one of the last 4 coveted spots. Now, that's a lot of mouthful of words, and it's basically to say that everything matters. It's win or go home. TLDR.
One thing I do want to mention, Purpl Reign, this is their 2nd time in this qualifier. Now, we talked about Ermagerd Kerr Navern losing to Cazadores. Guess what? Purpl Reign also lost to Cazadores last qualifier. So this is really big. It's redemption. They want to move forward, but unfortunately they are down 0-1.
Sorry, I'm distracted by Chance's ears, which are appearing right at the bottom of your screen.
He's one of our sponsors. Didn't you know?
That's true. Chance, if you want camera time, we can work into your contract, which negotiations begin next week. I'll tell you more about it in a bit. Also, again, on the set, we're joined by Randall. Randall, do you have any closing thoughts about the first match we just saw?
Yeah, so I totally messed up just a minute ago, guys. I have to apologize because I actually misread that whole match. I hate when I do that. It happens sometimes. But I misread who won the cap. That was Simplistic winning the cap, and they were red.
Yes.
Yes. So,
And Purpl
see,
Reign
I got
was
that
blue.
mixed up right at the beginning. And,
Don't
and
worry, man. There's a lot of colors being thrown around.
Exactly. So,
It doesn't help that we're all colorblind too.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's what we say.
This is gray and slightly darker gray as far as I'm concerned. Of course, join us on the set. We kind of alluded to earlier. We also have Joshua Clutch Gray. And now we said before the break and at the very beginning of the broadcast that we'll be giving away gold a lot earlier this time around because we want to reward people for their clever use of Purpl Reign since they are the first team in the match we have tonight. Clutch, have you gotten any tweets of note?
No, I haven't gotten anything really that's actually related to Purpl Reign or Prince yet because I think our younger demographic hasn't maybe watched those videos or knows this artist. But guys, all you gotta do is a quick Google search and you'll find something. I'll throw one out for you, Link Minnetonka. And if you can spell that, I'll be pretty impressed. Anyways, make sure to tweet at us at WGLNA. We're gonna give about 10 gold codes out tonight.
10?
Also, on Facebook.com/WGLNA, you guys can post some questions you have for the different commentators tonight. Maybe show us your favorite tank. Ask us specific questions about how the league works. League play starting July 11th. Maybe if you have questions about the finals, which are happening in Vegas, we'd love to answer those if possible. And also just to generate more excitement about the league, because since this is starting for the first time in North America, it is already established for sure in Russia and Europe and South Korea. But now the North Americans can have a real true shot to actually be the best in the world at a video game. And
of course.
that's actually kind of rare when it comes to esports.
And Clutch, you even were at WCG last year for World of Tanks, and we saw North Americans compete. How was that experience?
You know, it was quite an amazing experience to see so many members of the Chinese gaming community cheer for their favorite
North
team,
Americans.
Wave Night. Well, they were choosing for...
Oh, I thought you were saying, wow, it's amazing that Chinese people
I'm
cheer
sure
for
they love
North
North America as well, but they were actually cheering for Wave Night. Wave Night was their team. They actually placed second against the Red Rush.
Yeah.
The Red Rush is considered to be the best team in the world. However, Fulcrum Gaming, the guys that represent North America, they're the ones that are going to be gunning for the Red Rush this year for WCG, which is going to happen again in Kushan, China in November. And World Wargaming is going to be a part of it as well, because at the World Cyber Games, World of Tanks made its debut last year, and this year they're going to be another title. I look forward to that and to see an international champion for WCG and also for the Wargaming event happening in 2014.
I look forward to that because Clutch should be there commentating as well.
I should be. I plan to
be.
be. I plan to be.
All right, if not, WCG is now on the spot, so they better. A lot of angry fan mail will be coming in very soon. Again, this is battle number 2 between Purpl Reign and Simplistic. Let's get into the match. All right, so let's go ahead and introduce our team. The red team over on the south side is Simplistic. They are currently up 1-0, only needing 2 more wins to claim this best of 5 and move 1 step closer to getting their spot in WGLNA. And over on the north side, is the blue team, Purpl Reign. Don't let their color fool you, as they currently need to get on the board if they want to have any shot in this series. Immediately, one of their heavies are spotted, but Rukil, you see everything that's going. What's going on here?
Yeah, I'm seeing actually a huge split. You see 2 tanks all the way up in A1-2. Then you see 3 tanks all the way across the other side of the map. I don't know if that's the smartest move for this team. Canada Kyle and Wandorf in the T1 are going up towards the hill. This is the strat I was talking about before. Sometimes teams bring a T69 and a T1 to the hill, hoping to catch out the other T1 if he's alone. So that's what they're going to try and do up here, and that's where I'm expecting our first contact to be.
But he is leading with the T69. A lot of times you're supposed to lead with the T1. No, he's going to stop right now before he gets potentially spotted. You want to lead with the T1 first to draw out the other T1, and then, of course, move your T69 in a way where they can't spot you. If you're able to catch off your opponent's T1, obviously you have a 1-tank lead, but then you need to say, okay, I need to make something of it, because my opponents know that a T69 is out of place. They can definitely pounce on the rest of my team.
All right, and we're still waiting for the first signs of scouting beyond that heavy that was spotted, that T69, or that rather, Exploit has been spotted, the T69 down that 3 line, but they haven't seen too much. They saw Mr. Cool One, they've seen Exploit, but they still don't know that there's a T69 Canada Kyle that's up there on the hill.
Yeah, Himmelsdorf kind of partitions off into these 3 different lanes. You have the 1 through 3 lane, which is basically the most open areas you can possibly go to. That's your rush lane. That's the one where you just go, you push out, and you have relatively okay cover. The middle is kind of no man's land, but you're able to scout out and see a little bit of your opponent's movements. And then I would like to think the 8 through 0 line is that mind games line. If you're able to control the hill, that gives you the ability to pounce on your opponents, to make some aggressive plays. So when I see Purpl Reign taking the hills so decisively, it makes me think that they want to be a little bit more aggressive, especially with this T69 up there. As soon as this gets spotted, there's going to be some sort of counterattack. So you have to make a move. Canada Kyle B is now starting on the move, and we're going to see him. What is he going to do? I don't know yet, Fredin.
Two T1s are spotting each other, one on the low ground and one on the high ground over on the hill, but they kind of backed off, confirming more information about the T1 being there. But still, we don't see a lot of movement from Simplistic taking a really fortified position over in J2.
Well, now you do see movement, though, from Purpl Reign. Yeah, they're rotating around to the right-hand side. They know, okay, well, the city is given up. Now I have some sort of cover. I have a better arc, a better radius of knowing what's going around my area. And I know my opponents probably aren't going to have the intelligence advantage on me because I have this hill. So let's go ahead and make something of it, start to converge and push down. They're probably going to go through Tank Alley. And of course, Canada Kyle B is going to come up the rear side and help out with any potential flanks and crossfires.
Yeah, and I kind of have to wonder if Canada Kyle is the kind of linchpin of the strategy, because he spotted the T1, but
yes.
he took a shot and he misses. One of 4 shots there from Canada Kyle, whiffing on Waffles, and that's a big important scout for Simplistic.
Yep, that is huge. That tells Simplistic exactly where Canada Kyle was, and they saw Exploit on the other side of the map, but I don't think they actually saw him leave the other side of the map. While you guys were talking, Exploit actually made his way. He's all the way on the top of the hill now. So he may have gotten out, and as long as he wasn't spotted, or Simplistic, kind of predicted this movement, we might see a push from the hill. So it's very interesting, and I'm wondering how Simplistic is going to react.
Well, they're reacting by pushing over on the western side, going over to the tracks. There's only a T1 over there. I think it's I Love Haters.
Yeah.
And he might be very hard pressed soon, because he can't really fight 1 versus 6 against this many. 2 heavies have been spotted, and that might trigger Purpl Reign to react by either getting into a defensive positioning and counter-capping, or they have to actually push down the hill as well.
It's difficult. They don't have a lot of good options. They're kind of in a position where they aren't able to cap their opponents because it's still a long distance, but going back reduces all their offensive options that they've really worked so hard for. All this time positioning has been driven to take that top and then converge somewhere, but now they're not able to do so. They're going to retreat. I think that's the better option at this point, because realistically, on that western side, where all the tanks were spotted, they're already mid-map. Where are most of the other tanks? They're over in B, C, 8, and 9. That's where they were. Of course, they're not going to make it all the way across the map. Wow, they're splitting up. This is crazy.
And now, they're trying to get back in time, because they also know that there's not all the teammates there. In fact, Exploit and Canada B has been spotted there by the flag, with immediately taking out Waffles, and the A-Large 2 is trying to get out, but he won't be able to, initiating a counter cap for Purpl Reign.
And this is where Wandorf really helps out. You can see a Tier 1. What's a Tier 1 going to do? It's going to help cap a base. That's so powerful. T1's going to get there, hopefully in time, and of course reduce the amount of time it takes to cap this flag. But here we go. It looks like the red team is going ahead, converging backwards. So all of these tanks need to retreat ASAP. Meanwhile, the other 3 heavies are going to converge. Oh no, T69 is going to get tracked.
Uh-oh, and he's stuck there. Canada Kyle can't drop. That's a lot of damage that could completely be erased off Purpl Reign, and down he goes. Now, there's still a minute and a half. There's only 1 person capturing it, and it is Wandorf racking up the points. Big scout, though, I believe is from Mr. Cool 1. He saw the heavies from Simplistic going down that 3 line, so they know that the rotation was complete sweeping back to Simplistic's base, and now they have to find a way to continue to protect Wandorf if they want to make this capture go through.
They have to screen this as best as possible. Remember, Wandorf is all by himself. A simple ram is going to be enough to kill him. It looks like they're going to meet out in the G3 line. Is it going to be enough, though? Are they able to stop them in time? It looks like they are going to converge on Wandorf. Is the screen going to work?
I don't think so. That's T1. Won't be able to hold on fire for very long. Although he's still trying to take some fire over on the G line again. Doberman going for it, but he trades it out, but taking another T69, and I think in the end, Purpl Reign might be okay with that if they can hold his position. Not too much damage. Mr. Cool One, though, taking a big shot from speed weaponry.
Yeah, he has to be careful. Primrose is going to converge on him, gets a shot off, does a good bit of damage, and he's going to continue on. Mr. Cool One does not pen. Unfortunately, he's going to go down now as Mighty Pillow was able to gang up on him.
Yeah, it looks like Primus was able to finish it off, and all of a sudden, it's a 4 versus 3. Big shots on the exploit. He can't afford to take too much damage. He's the big one that needs to supplement this damage, and now all of a sudden, Purpl Reign is losing too many hit points. They're getting surrounded from 2 different angles. Great surround from Simplistic to be able to trap Purpl Reign and corner them to finish off this game if they can.
Art of War knows the Art of War. He's doing everything perfectly, just backing up, getting good angles on his opponents, and then going ahead and cleaning things up. Exploit goes down, and now there's only 2 Tier 8 tanks over the side on Purpl Reign. What can they do from here against 3 Tier 8 tanks with a lot more hit points?
And I mean, I wonder if Hangover is even clipping because he pokes out and takes a big shot from Art of War. It is returned. Oh man, Dragon gets a big shot, taking a huge chunk of the hit points. But with Mighty Pillow being able to get a position from behind Creator, and he has full hit points, and the fact that the shot landed from Art of War, accuracy is complete ally here for Simplistic, as right now there's just 200 hit points left for Purpl Reign.
One shot, one kill, that's all it takes. The Dragon, the Dragon, he's down, and now AMX 5100 played by Hangover Special. He's also 1 shot away. He's going to be just targeted down pretty soon here. Just left alone in this alleyway. My goodness, this is like a New York City, Brooklyn's a walk in the park. You do not want to do this, man.
Simplistic would do well in Gangs of New York as they are completely surrounding corner. Hangover Special, he has nowhere to go. I guess he can go back to drinking. Good night, Purpl Reign. Simplistic takes battle number 2 on Himmelsdorf.
Very, very
well
nicely done.
Hey, whoa,
Jinx.
Exactly what I was thinking, Greedsor. Go ahead, let's pull up the damage report and even talk about a little bit what's going on. Who do you think was a star player? Who would you have to call MVP for their team?
Well, if you look at this, AMX 5100 and IS3 Art of War really, really played it very well, I thought. 2,626 damage. That's a lot of shots. That's like 8 to 9 shots pending. Let's actually check. 8 shots pending right there. Good bit of damage. Excuse me. I think he played a fantastic game. Just always being in the right place, covering for his other AMX 5100. I think it was speed of weaponry for a pretty long time that was sitting in the corner of the cap.
I feel like everybody was hitting their shots.
Look at this, 2,000, 2,000, 2,000, quite substantial.
Oh, big potential damage received. That's a 5,100. That's a lot of damage. So let's click on Prime Moose real quick as well.
Prime.
The third option.
And he's 8 for 8.
So just like that,
Look
24 of 26 shots. And my math is something like 91% accuracy, I think, right? 24 of 26. It's kind of like 12 out of 13, close to 92%. Very well done on these heavy-hitting units. Sure, Mighty Pillow wasn't actually able to do any damage, but still really good. So both teams are just so anxious to play on Abby. As, wow, we see a really big aggressive movement. What's going on there, Rukil?
Yeah, so I saw one scout moving up to 679, and I thought he was actually going to jump up into F7. There's a small ramp that a light tank or another fast tank can get up to, but it looks like what we're going to see is we're going to see a huge push towards the Abbey. But what I think is actually this is going to be kind of a weak move because there are some great firing positions from the west side, which we see might get taken up. And from there, you have a superior position on those in the Abbey. That's why I generally consider the west side to be the strongest. And we might get to see it here. This is actually a very standard setup that we're seeing from the red team, which is Simplistic.
Yeah, I do want to say that Simplistic doesn't have the best tanks for hold down position. Just looking at their lineup, they have 2 T69s, a T71, MX 1390, MX 5100, and a Bison with another T1, of course. So, as I was saying, they don't have the best hold-down positions to do exactly what you were saying, but yes, they still have great firing over there. But we're going to see them just push up straight ahead.
Yeah, this is a super aggressive move from Purpl Reign. Normally, just like we were saying, we see a little bit more passive playing and shooting across the little river over on the 3-line. But instead, we see more of a, I guess I can call it more of a fast attempt or something aggressive, as both of the scouts from Simplistic has been spotted, as well as one of the T-69s. In fact, most of Purpl Reign has been detected, so Simplistic is going to have to respond, and they're pushing their Bison as far away from the point of contention as possible.
AMX 5100 played by Mr. Cool One, lining up shots against the AMX 1390. And this is a little bit tricky, but the Mr. Cool One has taken a couple of hits already. Actually, one hit already.
Well, they don't need to take too many hits. They want to stall for time. Cap already has begun, and the T1 already has been shoved out, and the T69 is there to support. Again, Purpl Reign is putting a clock onto how Simplistic can react to their positioning.
Yeah, I really like what's going on. Purpl Reign obviously had this plan in mind. T71 is going to be spotted right here. He's drifting a little bit.
Prime moves getting
very weak. Can he get the shot? Can he get the shot?
I think Kanekon might be reloading. Is he reloading?
Not sure right now. But he takes the shot and he kills him.
That's a very big kill, and all of a sudden, Simplistic kind of caught an awkward position. Only 20 seconds on the clock with double cap going on. Muddy Pillow and Doberman trying to force their way out of this corner and trying to get the switch back into their control immediately. Meanwhile, a big flank, and Simplistic is managing to buy some time. In fact, the T1 did drop at the cost of losing one of their AMX 5100s.
Exploit's going to go down over here as an AMX 1390 and an AMX 5100 are ganging up on him. His driver is dead. What are they going to do? I think they actually are clipping right now. Really unfortunate, but the T69 is also clipping. AMX 5100 is going to go down. Bison is going to shoot out, but he misses.
That's the second miss that I've seen so far out of A-Large 2. Needs to kind of land the assist to decisively turn the tides of battle, but Purpl Reign still kind of holding on to their position. They still have 5 members up compared to 3. That is huge just in terms of number advantage, because again, every hit point counts in this scenario.
That is right, Frodan. And they're going to try to contest the flag one more time. Art of War lining up shots against the T71. Candid Kyle will take some heat over here. And of course, the AMX 1390 heavily outpowers the T71, but it's so close.
Mr. Cool One does manage to take out Doberman, and Purpl Reign still has 2 members alive, but at the same time, we have 2 members alive. One of them is the Bison. The Bison, did he manage to get the shot off, or was that Art of War?
It was, I believe, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest.
The Bison has
Art
no
of War was
kills.
able to get the kill.
Yes.
Wow, what an amazing shot from Art of War to be able to take it out. All of a sudden, it could have been a nightmare for Simplistic if they lost everything, but still, it's going to come down to a last couple of shots. Wandorf is still alive. He can hunt for the Bison and make it extinct.
Yes, he can. They do have some idea of where the Bison is. Of course, going into that position is going to kill them.
But
Mr. Cool
Bison
One
can also can go in TD position. He can still snipe him. He still has the heat round. If he can get this shot off, he's going to be an absolute hero. Art of War realizing that he doesn't want to fight this one alone.
And he gets taken out!
A-Large 2 coming in clutch. Takes out the last heavy from Purpl Reign, and now it's down to Wandorf, but what happens? What happens if a T1 all of a sudden turns the tide of victory?
You know what? It sounds crazy. Wandorf can get one-shotted by both of them, but the fact of the matter is that is an AMX 1390. It can get penned by a Tier 1. So let's just say he's able to kill. He's able to kill that Tier 8 somehow or another. You know, then it becomes maybe he can get back into it if he plays some quarter games, whatever it might be. Wandorf, he could be a hero right now and keep Purpl Reign alive. But this is all it comes down to. Wandorf is the last person left. They're down 0-2. They have to win this in order to get back.
Man, I wonder if Wandorf said, you know what, guys? I need to protect this one flower. Actually, no, it's a pink button on the back of his tank. I thought it was a flower in the grass for a second. Wandorf must have been getting back from his coffee break and say, guys, where's everybody? Guys, team? Guys, are we going?
We going?
Well, you're gonna need to be in a very, very, very cautious position. Wandorf has been spotted, but so has Art of War. Art of War trying to angle himself. Wandorf doesn't want to get any shots.
Don't go back there. Remember, there's that Bison still. The Bison has a really nice arc.
That's right.
Where's
he
the
can
shot?
get the shot.
Where's the
Wandorf
shot?
can't stay in position too long, but they both teams have lost
Wandorf.
spots on each other. But now
Oh.
it has through proximity within 50 meters, and Wandorf has to make this count. You can't get down. This is Purpl Reign's last stand.
come
Will they
on.
have an opportunity to join WGLNA on July 11th?
Now remember, Wandorf has to release his entire clip on Art of War, and it has to all pen for him to kill that AMX 1390. He does have enough. I think it deals a little bit around 100 damage, something like that. Wandorf can pull this off if that AMX 1390 gets into bad position.
Yeah, and his reload time does favor him about 10, 11 seconds compared to the 40 seconds on the AMX 3090. It's going to be much more favorable, but you can guarantee that Art of War was prepared from this from the beginning. He has 6 shots, plus the one from the Bison with about a 13, 15 second reload. So there's lots of ammunition for Simplistic, and best of all, they have a tier advantage, so they can always even draw this out. They still have 2 minutes and 40 seconds. The burden is on Wandorf to act.
That's right. I mean, Wandorf has to do something. The Artie is probably going to be moving right now.
Whoa, swing and a miss.
Wandorf.
Wandorf wants Art of War. It's a little bit tough. AMX 1390 has terrible gun depression. Very difficult to kind of peer over a hill and posture up, not to mention the long aiming time relative to its poor ability to shoot on the move. Art of War says, you know what, man? I can just go ahead and cap. What are you going to do? Are you going to pop out?
Gonna cap.
And Wandorf says, I will. Let me think about it.
Come on, Wandorf. Use that T1 Cunningham gun depression.
Was the coffee break worth it, Wandorf?
Don't go into that black patch. Don't you dare. Don't you do it. Now he
I
knows.
wonder if actually he can't get hit because of the hill. Yeah, actually, I think he's using this angle to block off any shots from a large.
You know what? I think there might be the angle there. I'm not sure, really.
I think A-Large is repositioning as well. Yeah,
God.
he's trying to go over to K1, trying to get the angle across the bottom of the map and get that arc. There is a lot less hill to protect him over by that red line, as you can see.
Okay, Wandorf. You got this. Reset the cap. Come
Trying
on,
to get
Wandorf.
position, trying to use that. Now, keep in mind, T1 can have some pretty good view range relative to some of the scouts.
Okay,
T1.
he sees the Bison.
He sees the
Sees
Bison.
the Bison. Is he going for the Bison? Come on, baby.
Well, A-Large trying to get into a good spot. Still shoot. Ooh, a big shot there from the AMX 1390, or was that the Bison?
That was the Bison.
Okay, that was the Bison. Yeah, AMX 1390 shots are not that powerful. Still, though, Wandorf still needs to make a play. 30 seconds on the clock, 1 minute overall in this match. Wandorf reveals himself.
Bison is not in position to shoot.
Oh, it does manage to get the shot. Art of War manages to come clutch for Simplistic, and just like that, they have punched their ticket for the round of 8 match tomorrow at Day with Destiny to find out if they can get one of the last 4 seeds.
I wanted to believe, Froden. I wanted to believe.
I did believe. I thought Wandorf could do it. In fact, I thought Purpl Reign could do it from the very beginning.
Yeah,
with some
me
of the
too. I
clues.
mean, some of the stuff that was going on, really, really clever. It was pretty chaotic.